How do you experience true abundance? This is actually a loaded question because there's a surface answer and then there's a much deeper, more truthful answer. Most of us are accustomed to the surface answer, where we're taught that we have to really work on ourselves, we have to get super clear in what we want. We basically have to try really hard in order to get our vibrational state aligned with abundance, kind of carve out our identity so it's aligned with abundance. And we have to really focus on our desires in order to manifest abundance. So 99% of the YouTube videos you watch on this subject are more or less going to say things like this. Now, there's nothing wrong with these kinds of teachings. It's just that, once again, there's kind of a surface level of understanding, and then there's a deeper level. And a lot of these teachings tend to dwell on the surface. So I've come to discover this very deeply in my own life, that there's a world of difference between what I think is true abundance and what it actually is. So what I mean by this is all of us have an idea of it. We have certain thoughts that pop into mind and say, oh, I really want more of this. If I just had this, I'd feel abundant. I'd experience abundance. And usually it's more money or more love, better health. We have our kind of typical want list in front of us, and we think, once I get these things, then I'm there. So, have you noticed this in your own life? There's a very strong tendency to look outside of yourself for abundance, or to project into the future and think it's something that's going to happen down the road, and then you'll feel safe, happy, positive, whatever it is. What we want to do is reverse that. And the biggest paradigm shift you can experience is to realize that true abundance is who you already are. It's already here now. And if you've watched any other videos on this channel, you've heard me say that existence itself is abundance. Your life is a symbol of abundance. And so what I've discovered is that this is much more a path of clearing out that which is blocking true abundance, rather than trying to add on, become more, figure it out, or hope that it's something that you can experience down the road. It's already who you are. It's already here right now. And all you really need to do is drop your attachment to what I call corrupt files in your operating system so you can see that. So those files have to do with doubt, fear, lack, limiting beliefs, scarcity thinking. These are the things you want to probe deeply into and get into a truthful relationship with. And as you do this, the experience of natural abundance arises on its own. You don't need to force it. You don't need to figure it out. It's already there. It just starts to show up as a natural byproduct of being in a truthful relationship with yourself. Now what happens is the more you clear these blocks of fear and doubt and limiting beliefs, you start to get into what I call your essence, your true nature more and more. This is revealed to you on increasingly deeper levels, where you get more intimate with the truth of who you are. And from that place, you start to connect with what I call your core desires, the things that would really make you happy in this life. And the truth is, most of us don't know what our core desires actually are. We think we do, but if these corrupted files are still dwelling in our consciousness and we're attached to them, inevitably it's going to pull us in all kinds of directions. It's going to convince us that we think we know who we are and what we want and what would make us happy. But really, it's just sending us in all kinds of directions. There's a lot of mixed messaging. There's a lot of conflict. And we never are really sure. Like, why are we getting what we're getting? And what do I really want here? So in order to answer that question, it's all about clearing out these corrupted files, deleting them, purging them from your inner being, And by doing so, you become highly aware of who you really are, which is an infinite being having a human experience. And from that place, you start to live in your essence more, and you start to connect with what would really make you happy. A great example for me is music. I never knew for many, many years that music was one of my primary sources of happiness. But over the past several years, as I've been living more and more in my essence, the experience, the opportunity to play music has been presenting itself at increasingly higher levels, to the point where I just did my first live gig, and I see myself doing a lot more of that. I had no idea that that was such an important value for me, or practice or hobby, until I dropped a lot of the BS and the corruption in my internal operating system that was blocking me from seeing that. So this experience of tapping into true abundance is meant to be surprising, delightful, unexpected. I think the universe creates a lot of surprise in this way. It's playful in nature. We think we know what we want, but then when we get into a more truthful relationship with ourselves, we start to see we really didn't know. And what it's replaced with is this kind of spontaneous, unpredictable quality of, oh wow, I really want to do this. This is actually what would really make me happy. And that's of course different for all of us. So this is not something you can force or ambition your way to. It comes from letting go. It comes from letting go of that which is blocking you seeing clearly who you are, letting go of the frantic mind that thinks it's in control and its agenda is what's creating reality. It's not. Letting go into this infinite field of creative power that is the true source of what's creating your reality, merging with that in a more powerful and intimate way, and through that, you start to connect naturally with your core desires and what would really float your boat here. So the experience of dropping corruption in your operating system, limitation in your way of seeing, distortion, in and of itself is a revealing of true abundance. Seeing clearly connects you with happiness in a very natural way. And this feeling of already being whole, already being there. You don't need to add on layers in order to be abundant and happy. It's already here. And the acquisition of your core desires is very much like icing on the cake in this sense. You're already abundant, but what you're doing is playing a fun game of seeing how far you can take it. Tapping into your core desires, and then how far can you go in the direction of actualizing those desires. So this is the way I've found to see it that is incredibly constructive and positive, because if you see it in this way, all the pitfalls, all the attachments, the self-sabotage, you're going beyond them. You literally become unstoppable. Growth mindset is what dictates the unfolding of your life, because you recognize you're an infinite being. There's no real limit here that you need to buy into. That's true abundance. Creating your life from that place is true abundance. So hopefully you can feel how this is quite different from the typical advice that there's an I in there that needs to figure it all out. There's an I in there that needs to try hard to manifest. Much more powerful to let go of the false self, let go of the fragmented notion of the I that you think has creative power, and instead merge into creative intelligence itself. See yourself as that and create your life from that place. It's a much more fun game to play. It's way more powerful, and you generally are totally happy with whatever shows up in your life because it's all coming from that place and you trust it. That's true abundance. So this doesn't mean that you can't have the Ferrari, or you can't win the lottery, or you can't have your ideal partner. If those things are true to who you are, they're going to happen either way. If those things are written into your story, they're going to happen regardless of what you do or don't do. And the great irony and paradox of the universe is that the more you try to get those things through your own control, the more you're actually blocking them. The more you can sink into the profound cosmic relief that you can't screw it up. If those things are meant to happen, they will, and you can't get off track from that. The more it fortifies your faith, gives you a sense of power and strength in the way you create, and you feel backed by life, backed by the universe. That's true abundance. So my intention here is just to transmit this to you in kind of a big picture overview way. If you want more content like this, where you get into a truthful relationship with yourself, and you start to feel in your own being, your heart, the unraveling of true abundance, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as much of the content will be geared towards this pursuit. It's a very different way of seeing the path rather than the typical law of attraction and manifestation teachings out there that, I don't know about you, but tend to produce very mixed messages, mixed results. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.